Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My dear students, how are you? I hope you'll be fine. I'm here with a new video that is related to a poem, The Echoing Green. It's a very interesting poem, and the poet has used similes, the comparisons in the poem. So we are going to start the poem. There is no words to no box, as you can see over here. So we are going to discuss some of the possible words that are difficult for you with their meanings before starting the poem. So let's start. The word echoing, as it is covered in the title of the poem, the echoing green. Echoing is basically the reflection of a sound. Sometimes when we speak in a room that is completely empty, our voice or our sound reflect back. Okay, so that is basically echoing. Arise. The sun arise in the morning. It means it appears, it comes to light, it comes to light. The sun shines, the sun arises in the morning, and it turns bright everywhere. Merry bells. It's a plant of lily family having delicate bell-shaped yellow flower. So it's basically a sort of a plant. Skylark. Skylark is a small brown bird. It's quite between the sparrow. It's not a sparrow, it's a different bird, but it's just like a sparrow. Thrush. Thrush is a small to medium-sized ground living birds, and it is fed on the insects, so it's also a bird. Cheerful means joyful, happy. Laugh away. Laugh means to smile in such a way that your teeth are shown. But here, laugh away means forgetting the problems of life by being happy and laughing. Laughing in such a way that your problems, that your troubles get away from your sight. Oak. It's a large tree having a large, making a large circle of leaves all around. Okay. Then old folk means old people of a particular place. The people of old age gathering at certain place are called old folk. Weary means tired. Descend means to go down, to set down. It means at the time when the sun goes down and it becomes dark. Youth. Youth is the young age people. The people of teenagers are called basically the youth of our country, for example. So here I have covered almost all the difficult words, and still if I would find any in the poem, I'll tell you there. Let's start the poem, but before that let's discuss the title, The Echoing Green. It's basically a poem that talks about merry sounds, the sounds that makes us happy, and images which accompany the children playing outdoors. You can see in the picture over here, the children are playing outdoor games. They are having swings and different sort of seesaw and a play area all around. They are enjoying the weather, the surroundings, the play area, and they are very happy. And along with them, the old people sitting there are also seem to be happy. So this Echoing Green is basically a poem that tells us the fresh and beautiful environment all around us when children play outdoors. Okay, so let's start. The sun does arise and make happy the skies. The merry bells ring to welcome the spring. The skylark and thrush, the birds of the bush, sing louder around to the bells' cheerful sound, while our spots shall be seen on the echoing green. So the poet is saying the sun does arise. It's the early morning time, the time of dawn, and it is the answer to the question number 1 also. We'll discuss later. For now, I am just telling you that it's the answer to question number 1. When the sun arises, when the sun appears in the sky in the morning, all the people becomes happy. Or you can see that the sky becomes happy. It means the sky turns bright. It means that when the light spreads across the sky, it makes it look beautiful and fresh. If you would have noticed early in the morning, you could have seen the sky seemed to be very much fresh and beautiful. It's the time when everyone out there seems to be happy and everyone seems to be fresh. That the night that has went away has faded all the worries along. ठीक है, तो हम यहाँ पर क्या देख रहे हैं, जब सूरज सुबह निकलता है तो जो आसमान है वो बहुत खुशनुमा और बहुत खुशगवार और बहुत खूबसूरत नजर आता है. मैरी बेल रिंग्स, और जो मैरी बेल एक फ्लावर है वो उस वक्त जो है वो खिलना शुरू हो जाता है टू वेलकम द स्प्रिंग. स्प्रिंग के मौसम को वेलकम कर रहा है, खुशामदीद कह रहा है. द स्काईलार्क एंड थ्रश, द बर्ड्स ऑफ द बुश सिंग लाउडर अराउंड. और इसी में मजीद जो परिंदों की खुशनुमा आवाजें हैं, खूबसूरत उनकी जो चहचहाने की आवाजें आ रही हैं, वो माहौल को और रंगीन बना रही हैं. टू द बेल्स चीयरफुल साउंड, जो वहां पर जो बेल्स हैं, मैरी बेल्स हैं, उसकी खुशनुमा होने को और ज्यादा रंगीन कर रही हैं. While our sports shall be seen, जबकि आप हमारा स्पोर्ट देख सकते हैं, हमारी इंजॉयमेंट देख सकते हैं, हमारी एक्साइटमेंट, हमारे गेम्स, हम जो पार्क के अंदर इंजॉय कर रहे हैं, आप देख सकते हैं. ऑन द echoing green. Echoing green means basically green color is a symbol of freshness. It admires, it adores the people around it. ठीक है, ग्रीन कलर जब हम देखते हैं, हरा हरा रंग जब हम देखते हैं, तो हमारी जो तबीयत है वो बहुत खुशगवार हो जाती है, हमारा मूड बहुत अच्छा हो जाता है. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर भी वो कह रहे हैं कि जब सूरज सुबह निकलता है और उस वक्त हम जब खेल रहे होते हैं तो फूल और परिंदे और हमारे गिर्द का जो खुशगवार माहौल है वो हमें बहुत ज्यादा खुश कर देता है. ठीक है, echoing green कहते हैं. echo means the sound that arrives at the listener sometime after the direct sound. एक आवाज के बाद जो उसके साथ ही दूसरी आवाज आती है उसको हम कहते हैं echo, आवाज का रिफ्लेक्ट करना. There comes the second stanza. Old John with white hair does laugh away care, sitting under the oak among the old folk. They laugh at our play and soon they all say, such were the joys when we all girls and boys in our youth time were seen on the echoing green. Now they are telling something about the old people out there who were chilling out with their folks, with their same age people along with the children. Old John, the poet is referring to a person, Old John, with white hair. As you can see, of course, old people have white hair, or sometimes they are bald, having no hair on their heads at all. Does laugh away care. Laugh away means forgetting the problems of life by being happy or by the laughter. And care means the thought of being old and fear of death. So this phrase tells us that when the old people go out and sit in the park watching the children chilling out, they just forget all the worries, all the troubles of their life and enjoy there. ठीक है, वो थोड़े टाइम के लिए अपनी सारी परेशानियां, अपनी सेहत की खराबी, अपनी गिरती हुई उम्र, अपने जो है वो प्रॉब्लम्स को बिल्कुल भूल जाते हैं और वो बच्चों के साथ बच्चे बनकर एंजॉय करने लगते हैं. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर हमें कह रहे हैं कि John is also in the park along with the children and he is laughing with them without caring about his old age and approaching death. इस टाइम पर वो सब कुछ भूल जाते हैं कि वो बूढ़े हो चुके हैं, मौत उनके करीब आ चुकी है. हर बात को भूलकर वो बिल्कुल अपनी जिंदगी में मस्त हो जाते हैं. Sitting under the oak, दरख्त के नीचे बैठे हैं, among the old folk, अपने बूढ़े दोस्तों के साथ. They laugh at our play, वो हमें देख देख कर खुश हो रहे हैं, हंस रहे हैं. And soon they all say, और बहुत जल्द वो क्या कहने लगते हैं, such were the joys, हम भी ऐसे ही ऐसे मजे करते थे, when we all girls and boys, जब हम बच्चे हुआ करते थे. So they are just recalling their memories and they are remembering the times when they were teenage, when they were young, when they had energy, when they used to enjoy the time like the children. ठीक है, In our youth time were seen on the echoing green. यानी हम भी कभी बच्चे हुआ करते थे और हम भी इसी तरह से एंजॉय किया करते थे. हम ये खेल खेला करते थे और यहाँ यहाँ जाया करते थे और इस तरह से अपनी लाइफ को एंजॉय करते थे. Here comes the last stanza. Till the little ones weary, no more can be merry. The sun does descend, and our sports have an end. Round the laps of their mothers, many sisters and brothers, like birds in their nest, are ready for rest, and sport no more seen on the darkening green. So, my dear students, as we all know, there is an end and full stop to every joy. Similarly, the poet is telling us that how slowly a person turns out old from his young age. Because time never stops. Time goes on, moves on, and we changes our ages. And first we are babies, then we turn out to be young, and at last we become old and then die. Till the little ones weary. Now the children are tired. They are tired of playing. They have played a lot. No more can be merry. Now they are no more joyful because they are feeling very much tired and they wanted to get rest. Because it's the time for the sun to set down. The sun does descend. The sun is going down. It's the time of dusk when the light turns into dark. And our sports have an end. So the sports has stopped and they are going back, heading towards the homes. Round the laps, and our sports have an end, round the laps of their mothers. So the children are now going into the laps of their mothers. अपने माओं की गोद में जा रहे हैं. Many sisters and brothers, or they have their siblings around them, like birds in their nest. It's just like the birds who are in their nest are ready for rest. Because when the sun sets and it's the time of dusk, all the birds just go back to their nest and they take their rest there. And sport no more seen on the darkening green. So in the first two stanzas you can see the poet has used the phrases on the echoing green, but this time he is saying on the darkening green. It means the sport has come to an end and there is no more chilling, no more joys, no more cheers, no more laughings, and it's time for everyone to get back to their homes. So you can say that now echoing green looks like a dark and gloomy in the evening, the joy of childhood contrasted with the old age. Poet has called it darkening green. It's a figurative meaning about the end of youth. Basically, students, the poet is trying to tell us that how a people turns from youth to old. ठीक है, एक आदमी जवानी से कैसे बुढ़ापे की तरफ जाता है, यहाँ पर इस पोम के अंदर पोएट ने इसी बात को डिस्क्राइब किया है. कुछ सिमिलीज यूज की हैं, कुछ कंपैरिजंस उन्होंने यहाँ पर यूज करते हुए इस चीज को बहुत अच्छी तरह से एक्सप्लेन किया है. Here is the name of the author, the poet, William Blake. ठीक है, he is the poet. Let's talk something about him. William Blake, 1757 to 1827, lived in London for all but 3 years of his life. That is, he spent all his life there except 3 years. When he was a young boy, his parents realized that he was most interested in art, so they sent him to painting lessons. And when he grew up, he worked as an artist for a printer. Black was a poet, painter, and printmaker. He believed in equality and wrote poetry that could be understood by everyone. So he was a nice man and he was brought up nicely from his parents, and he achieved what he wanted to be in his life. Now let's move towards the question and answers. Here we have a set of 8 questions here and then 2 more questions in the more difficult ones. So let's discuss them one by one. What time of day is it at the beginning of the poem? Question number 1. Okay? We have to tell the time, what exactly is the time at the beginning of the poem. And question number B says, Which words from the first stanza create a cheerful mood? We have to find out the words that are creating a cheerful mood in the first stanza. So we have to focus on the first stanza for question number 1 and 2. As you can see, the sun does arise. So it's the time of dawn. Okay? It's early in the morning when the sun arises because it's the time of dawn. The merry bells ring to welcome the spring. The skylark and thrush, the birds of the bush, sing louder round. To the bells cheerful sound, while our sports shall be seen on the echoing green. So we are going to write the answers as for A. At the beginning of the poem, the sun is rising, so it is dawn time. You'll start the answer from the questions, students. Make sure that you are phrasing the answer in the same way as the question has been phrased. So, as the question is here, what time of day is it at the beginning of the poem? You'll write the answer from here. At the beginning of the poem, the sun is rising, so it is dawn time. And for question number 2, which words from the first stanza create a cheerful mood? You'll write the words from the first stanza which create a cheerful mood are. We are taking exactly same words from the question to phrase out the answer. So we have a collection of these words: happy, merry, welcome, sing, and cheerful. These are some of the words that are creating a cheerful mood. Now we have part C in the second stanza. Now we have to move to second stanza. What are the older people doing? This is part number A. Okay? And what does it make them remember? What are they doing? And what makes them remember by doing that? Okay? So we have to find the answers to both of the parts. We'll actually phrase out the answer in our own words. Okay? As you can see in the second stanza, old John with white hair does laugh away care. So what are they actually doing in the second stanza? In the second stanza, the older people are laughing at the children playing. And what are they trying to recall? What are they remembering? They are remembering their youth time. So we are going to write the answer as in the second stanza, the older people are laughing at the children playing. It makes them remember when they used to play happily on the green when they were young. Then we have 3 questions, part D, E and F. All 3 are related to final stanzas. Let us discuss them one by one. In the first stanza, what time of day is it? Of course, it is the sunset's time, that is dusk time. In the first stanza, final stanza, what happens to the children? They are back to their homes under the laps of their mothers and they are therefore resting. In the final stanza, the poet creates an interesting image by comparing the mother and her children to a type of animal. Okay, first they are telling us that what the poet is doing in the final stanza. He is comparing mother and her children with a type of animal. So what is the question? What animals are they compared to? What are the animals they are compared to? We have to find out the name of animal and what are they doing. What are they doing? That is the mother and her children. What is the effect of using this comparison? And we have to find out third part of this question, that what is the effect of this comparison? Why is he doing that? So you can see it is the dusk time as we have already discussed. And what are the children doing? They are now weary and they are ready to rest under the laps of their mothers. So we are going to write the answers as in the final stanza, the sun is going down, so it is dusk time. And for part E, in the final stanza, the children are tired and ready for rest round the laps of their mothers. Then part F has a total of 3 parts, set of 3 parts. In the final stanza, the poet compares the mother and her children to birds in a nest. Okay? As you can see over here, like birds in their nest. This is a simile. Okay? When we compare one thing to another using the words like or as, it's a simile. So here the poet has compared the mothers and her children to birds in their nest. Part 2, the children sit with their mother. What are the children doing? The children sit with their mother. And part C, what is the effect of this comparison? So the effect of the comparison is that we can imagine children feeling comfortable and safe in their mother's laps. So we are going to write this answer. This is the complete answer to part F. Then we have last two questions. Make a list of the animals mentioned in the poem. We have to first make the list of animals. And then in part H, we have to make a list of sounds mentioned in the poem. So we have to find both the animals and the sounds mentioned in the poem. And it has one more part. Which stanza doesn't have any sound mentioned in it? We have to find out the stanza having no sounds. So if we go through the poem, we'll find out that two of the animals are mentioned here, the skylark and thrush, and the number of sounds that are mentioned here are a bit longer. So here you can see merry bell rings, then birds singing, and then echoing green, and then the sound of old John, then the old folk, they are talking something about the children. So these are some of the sounds that poet has described in the poem, and we have no sounds. If you go through it, you'll find that there is no sound mentioned in stanza number 3. So you are going to write the answers to part G as animals mentioned in the poem are skylark and thrush, and to part H, sounds mentioned in the poem are merry bell ringing, birds singing, old John laughter, voices of the old folk, the echoing green. And the answer to part number 2 in part H, no sounds are mentioned in the final stanza. Okay, my dear students, we have 2 more questions in over here. What do you notice about the last line of each stanza? We have a total of 3 stanzas, and what do we notice about the last line in each stanza? Say how they are similar and how they are different. We have to find the similarities and differences of all 3 stanzas. It's an easy question. In the last line of the first stanza, you'll see on the echoing green, then again on the echoing green, and in the last stanza, last line, on the darkening green. So the similarities between them is on the echoing green, and on the darkening green. They are a bit similar. Okay? They are similar lines. But what are the difference between them? Here, if you can see, the poet is describing a situation. But here, on the echoing green is basically the quotation, the exact words, the speech words, the words spoken by old people. So here it's not description, here it is the speech words, the words spoken by old people. And here we have altogether different phrase on the darkening green instead of on the echoing green. So these are the some of the similarities and differences between them. So we are going to write the answer as last line of each stanza is almost same. First, on the echoing green, it's a description. Second, on the echoing green, these are the speech words. So they are basically completely same, but one is description and the other is a speech word. This is the difference between the two. And the last one is slightly different from the first two, that is on the darkening green. It has not on the echoing green but darkening green phrase over here. Then we have part J. How does the difference in the last lines affect the mood of the end of the poem? As you can see, students, here the poet has used on the darkening green instead of on the echoing green. So it displays that the life of one when ending, the life of an old person is quite saddening. So we can write the answer as the last lines affect the mood in such a way that it displays the end of one's life. जब किसी की ज़िंदगी ख़त्म हो रही होती है, आखिरी दिन होते हैं, तो ज़ाहिर है उसके दिल में उदासी होती है, उसको अपने पिछली गुजरी हुई ज़िंदगी भी याद आती है, सेहत भी ख़राब हो चुकी होती है, कमज़ोरी भी आ जाती है. तो इसलिए वो एक इंसान की ज़िंदगी का थोड़ा सा मुश्किल वक्त होता है. ठीक है, तो इस तरह से ये मूड हमारा यहाँ पर चेंज हो जाता है कि शुरू में तो सारी जो है वो बड़ी एनर्जेटिक और फ्रेशनेस की बात की, और आखिर में ज़िंदगी जब ख़त्म होने की बात आई तो वहाँ पर मूड थोड़ा सा स्विंग हो गया. So here students, the explanation and the exercise, question number 1, exercise A has come to an end. I hope you would have liked the video. Please share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thanks for watching. Take care. Allah Hafiz.